Hmm, something seems different today. Yeah. Oh, oh, hey, didn't see you there. Hi, Mr. Carver. I'm having kind of a weird day today. Woke up not quite feeling myself. So, I don't know. That's kind of strange. Anyway, today we're going to make graphs again on the computer. This time, we're going to compare three cities around the world. I've got three cities picked out, and I'm going to have you fill out a graph on the computer again, kind of like we did last time. And this graph is going to compare the three cities and their temperatures. And we're going to see where a city's location is on a map makes a big difference as to what their temperatures are going to be. So let's get ready to make some more graphs using a computer in computer science. Hey everybody. Last time we were together, we turned data into graphs. We went to Reno, Nevada, found the average temperature and the rainfall, and we wrote down those numbers, then put it into a computer, a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet made a graph for us. A graph is a great way that we could show information and see what it's telling us, not just read a bunch of numbers. So we're going to practice that today as well. I want you to get out this sheet of paper. This is backwards for you. It looks like this. There are three cities on it. See that? So these three cities are Des Moines, Buenos Aires, and Singapore. And so what I want us to do today is we're going to go and visit these cities real fast, and then we're going to write down and graph their temperatures. Now, I've already done the work for you. I wrote those temperatures on that sheet. So you can see what the temperatures are in January for all three cities. But I just want to show you real quick where those cities are at. So I'm going to go to Buenos Aires. I got to spell it right here. B-U-E-N-O, Buenos Aires. It is the capital of Argentina. And the reason that I chose Buenos Aires is because it is in a different hemisphere. That's right. Des Moines, where we currently live, that's in the northern part of the world, the northern hemisphere, the top. Well, Buenos Aires is in the bottom of the world, the southern hemisphere. So it is kind of like opposite of Des Moines. If I were to zoom out, I can see right here. Here's Des Moines and Carlisle, where we're at, and here's Buenos Aires. So it's in the same part of the world, but on the other side, on the other half of the globe. And I wonder if that's going to affect the weather at all. We'll see. Now, the other place that we're going to find is we're going to find Singapore. Let's see where Singapore is at. Still got to say Singapore. Oh, all right. Singapore is kind of funny. It's an island, like a tiny little island. And it is its own country. So this tiny island, which is basically a city, is its own country. Imagine if Des Moines was its own country. That's kind of like what Singapore is. Singapore is way bigger than Des Moines, but it's kind of like that same idea. It's a super, super small country that sits over here in Asia. It's this island that does its own thing, but it has kind of interesting weather because it sits in this area right along the oceans that way. We got the Pacific Ocean over here and the Indian Ocean over here, and it is on the other side of the world as well. So here's China, and then here's Singapore, and here's us over here. So this is also a country that's really, really different than Des Moines is, and that's why I picked it. So let's go through, and what we're going to do in our graphs today is we're going to chart out the data. So we're going to write down these numbers here, and we're going to see what happens when they show up into our graph, because we want to use that information to make some predictions and to make some conclusions about what it's showing us. All right, you put in that data. I'm going to put in the data. I'm going to go into fast forward mode so that you can keep right here, and then we'll talk about the data after you get done. So if you want to pause it, you can, or if you just want to fast forward it through me, well, like or watch me do it in fast forward, you can do that too. All right, let's put in the data. Now, I just put in 2 cities, Des Moines, and that's the one that we're probably used to. That shows up in red. We have cold winters and we have hot summers. And that seems pretty normal. That's kind of what we're used to. So in January, it's going to be our coldest month at 29 degrees on a normal day. And it'll be our hottest in August and July. July looks like it's got an 86. That's a normal day in July. But look what happens with Buenos Aires. Remember, Buenos Aires is on the other side, the bottom of the world. They, in January, are at their hottest. They're about as warm as our summers are in January. They're at their coldest in July, which is one of our hottest months. Yeah. So when we in Des Moines are the hottest, Buenos Aires is at its coldest. And when we're at its coldest, they're at their hottest. So our winters are their summers, and their summers are our winters. It's like the seasons have been flipped around. That is really helpful for us. And this is one of the reasons that we're using the graph is because Buenos Aires does have opposite seasons from us because they're on the other side of the globe. When we're pointed towards the sun, we're at our hottest. But when they're pointed away from the sun, they're at their coldest. Then when they're at their pointed towards the sun, they're at their warmest, but we're pointing away. So that's our winter time. This graph does a great job of showing us just how those two relationships actually work out. When Des Moines gets hot, Buenos Aires gets cold, and then they go the opposite because they're on the opposite side of the world. Now let's see what Singapore is going to do. Singapore is like right almost on the equator. They're kind of like right in the middle. So I wonder how that temperature is going to look compared to everyone else's. Let's go ahead and put that data in too. Huh. Look at that. Singapore, which sits near the equator along some oceans, doesn't really have a summer and it doesn't really have a winter or a fall or a spring. It is pretty much the same temperature all year long. It's 87 is their coldest and 90 is their hottest. That's an average day. They are kind of the same, and their line looks pretty straight. So they're always warmer than Des Moines. They're always warmer than Buenos Aires is, but they don't have any sort of seasons. It's just always summer in Singapore. So I want you to think real quick, if you kind of look at this graph here, where would you like to live? Do you like to live in Des Moines, which has cold winters, like really cold winters? Look how low that line is. And pretty hot summers? Would you like to live in Buenos Aires, which has warm winters and not so cold summers? Would you like to live in Singapore, where it's summer all year long? Everyone's kind of got a different answer on that one. I like using graphs like this. I like putting in these numbers because it really does a good job of showing us the data. When I just look at a bunch of numbers on a list, sometimes it's hard for me to picture what that means. But when I have a graph, I can really do a good job of picturing just how the lines move and what that means for temperatures in this case. All right. If you got any time left over, you can ask your guardian, your parent, or your adult, whoever's with you. You can have some free choice time on my website, the 3 for 3rd grade. That's what the 2 for 2nd grade. We're in 2nd grade. That's what the other 2nd graders did when they got done with this as well. The next time we get together, it'll be week 11. That'll be our last week, and so I'll have a wrap-up activity for us to do, and then we will switch back to STEM after next week. Not next week. Next week you're still with me, but the week after, back with STEM. All right. So I will see you next week for the last time, and I look forward to that. All right. See you guys.